Find your friends with open ears, laughs and wisdom in our ears. Join the convo, feel the breeze. IslandJason sets you free.
Welcome to Find Your Friends with IslandJason, the podcast. We're going deep today on a YouTube video. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Pussies of 2025.
Wow.
You know, IslandJason, he has...
Quite the title.
Yeah, he's got a very particular way of looking at what it means to be a man these days.
You could say that.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, how he uses, like, humor and storytelling to tackle, kind of a complex issue. How men are navigating masculinity in a world that just...
Seems to be changing all the time.
Constantly changing, yeah.
Yeah.
And he definitely doesn't shy away from bold statements. His main argument seems to be that men today are just way too overly cautious, sensitive, lacking that kind of boldness that he associates with, earlier generations.
Mm-hmm.
He tells a story about being in a bar.
I love his stories.
Oh, they're so good. And watching this guy practically have a meltdown trying to use a cocktail shaker.
Oh, my gosh.
It's funny, but it also makes you wonder if he has a point. Well, there's a growing body of research on men's mental health that suggests that maybe men are struggling to adapt to these changing social expectations.
Yeah.
So as comedic as IslandJason's delivery is, his observations could be tapping into, like a genuine societal shift.
For sure. And he even contrasts, like, his own memories of dating, dinner, drinks, maybe sharing a dessert.
Yeah, keep it simple.
With what he sees as, like, the overthinking.
Yeah.
And the anxiety of modern dating.
Oh, yeah.
Worrying about texting etiquette, the perfect angle for eye contact, all that.
All those rules.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
I can't imagine trying to date these days.
Yeah.
It seems like he's suggesting that the fear of making a mistake or being labeled toxic is preventing men from just expressing themselves authentically and forming genuine connections.
Yeah, and he actually says, let go of this mythical idea of being a good guy. The trouble is, boys, standing up for yourself. That's not toxic. Apologizing for being you. That's the real problem. Pretty powerful.
That really gets to the heart of it. It
Yeah.
seems like he's trying to distinguish between being, genuinely respectful and kind versus just being so afraid of conflict that you suppress your own needs and opinions.
Absolutely. And if you're enjoying IslandJason's unique perspective on all of this and want to hear more of his no-holds-barred commentary, head over to his YouTube channel. He's got tons of videos that will definitely make you think and maybe even laugh out loud.
Yeah, he even suggests that maybe this constant striving to be a good guy can actually be detrimental, leading to inauthenticity and a lack of self-respect.
Yeah, interesting. He makes another provocative point when he talks about how men are like tiptoeing around each other instead of having like open and honest disagreements.
Right.
He seems to be yearning for a time when men were just more comfortable expressing their differences, engaging in like lively debate.
It's interesting because it seems like he's, pushing back against this idea that any form of assertiveness or disagreement is just inherently toxic.
Right.
Maybe he's suggesting there's room for healthy conflict and debate as long as it's done respectfully.
Yeah, and he even jokes about how men used to settle arguments with a good old-fashioned fist fight.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, we're not endorsing.
No, of course not.
But I think his underlying point is that maybe we've lost the art of healthy confrontation.
Yeah, just being able to disagree without it
being,
the end of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying we should go back to brawling in the streets, but maybe there's something to be said for being more upfront and direct in our communication.
Yeah, that directness is certainly a hallmark of IslandJason's style.
Oh, yeah.
If you appreciate his unfiltered take on life, relationships, and everything in between. Be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's got a ton of great content. And your support helps him keep those videos coming. You can even send him an e-transfer at islandjason@gmail.com if you're feeling generous.
It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to disagree. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. And for goodness sake, don't be afraid to be a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, embrace those rough edges. Yeah, it's almost as if he's suggesting that. Modern society's emphasis on politeness and political correctness has just gone too far.
Right.
And it's created this generation of men who are just afraid to speak their minds or express their true selves.
He even uses this term wusty.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's his way of saying men should be, passionate and resilient, kind of a play on lusty and gusty all rolled into one.
It is an interesting combination of like old school values with this message of self-acceptance and individuality.
Yeah.
It's like he's challenging traditional notions of masculinity while simultaneously encouraging men to embrace certain aspects of it.
He's full of contradictions.
He is.
But in a way that makes you think. In one breath, he's telling men to grab life by the horns and be unafraid to flaunt your weird side. And in the next, he's talking about the importance of hard work and resilience.
Yeah, there's this underlying message of self-reliance and personal responsibility. That seems to run through a lot of his commentary.
Absolutely.
He talks about men needing to be more present and engaged in their lives, less caught up in analysis and self-doubt, and more focused on taking action and experiencing the world.
Like he's saying, stop overthinking everything and just go for it.
Exactly.
Make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and that's a message that probably resonates with a lot of men who just feel overwhelmed by the pressures of modern life.
For sure.
There's this constant barrage of information and expectations, and it can be difficult to sift through it all and just figure out who you are and what you want.
And IslandJason seems to be offering a kind of antidote to that feeling of overwhelm.
Yeah.
He's saying, be yourself, Wyoming. Embrace your flaws and don't let the noise of the world drown out your own inner voice.
It's a message of empowerment, urging men to take control of their lives and define their own version of masculinity.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to challenge those who might disagree with him.
No, he's not.
He definitely has that take it or leave it attitude.
He does.
That some people find refreshing. And he's not shy about asking for support from his viewers.
No, he's not.
He even jokes about needing to buy more whiskey to fuel his storytelling.
Well, if you are enjoying IslandJason's unique brand of humor and wisdom and want to show your support, consider subscribing to his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Every subscription helps him keep creating content that is sure to make you think and maybe even challenge a few of your own assumptions.
And he even reminds folks that they can send an e-transfer to islandjason@gmail.com if they're feeling extra generous.
There you go. Support the Wizity Fund.
That's right.
He really does have a knack for creating a sense of community.
He does.
He's inviting his viewers to join him on this journey of self-discovery and exploration. And he's not afraid to be vulnerable and authentic along the way.
He talks a lot about the importance of honesty and transparency,
Yes.
both in our personal lives and in our interactions with others.
Right. It's like he's saying, let's drop the pretense and just be real with each other.
And that could be a powerful message,
It can.
especially in a world where so much of our communication is filtered and curated.
Oh, absolutely.
He's encouraging men to be more open and genuine in their relationships.
He even talks about the importance of embracing our weird side,
Yeah.
suggesting that our quirks and imperfections are what make us unique and interesting.
It's a refreshing perspective,
It is.
especially in a culture that often celebrates conformity and perfection.
Right. He seems to be pushing back against those societal pressures,
Yeah.
encouraging men to be more comfortable in their own skin.
He even says something like, don't try to fit in, stand out. Be the guy who isn't afraid to be different, the guy who dances to the beat of his own drum.
I love that. There's a real sense of liberation in that message.
There is.
He's essentially giving men permission to be themselves, without apology or reservation.
And I think that's what resonates with so many people.
Yeah.
He's not offering easy answers or a one-size-fits-all approach to masculinity.
Right.
He's simply encouraging men to be more mindful, more intentional, more authentic in their own unique way. And he does it with humor and a healthy dose of self-deprecation.
He does.
He's not afraid to make fun of himself,
Right.
which I think makes his message even more relatable.
For sure.
It's like he's saying, hey, I'm not perfect and I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure this thing called life out one day at a time.
And in doing so, he's creating a space for men to be open and honest about their own struggles and triumphs.
It's a space where vulnerability is seen as a strength
Yeah.
and authenticity is valued above all else.
Absolutely.
And he's inviting us all to join him in that space.
Yeah.
It's like he's built this whole philosophy around, being your genuine self, no matter how rough around the edges that self might be.
And that authenticity is a key part of his appeal.
Right.
He's not putting on some persona or trying to fit into some predefined mold of what a successful YouTuber or influencer should be.
Right. He's just being IslandJason.
Yeah.
Flaws and all.
Flaws and all.
And I think that resonates with people because, we're all a little bit messy and imperfect in our own ways.
Absolutely. There's something liberating about seeing someone just embrace their individuality so wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
It gives us permission to do the same.
It really does. He even encourages his viewers to find their tribe.
Yes.
To connect with like-minded people who, appreciate their unique perspective and sense of humor.
That sense of community is something he emphasizes quite a bit.
Oh, yeah?
He talks about his viewers as friends and seems genuinely invested in building a connection with them.
He does. And he often ends his videos with, like a yeehaw and a reminder to have a good one.
It's very wholesome.
It is. It's a little cheesy, but it also feels genuine.
Yeah.
It's like he's sending his viewers off with a mutual pat on the back and a reminder to face the world with a smile and a sense of humor.
And a little yeehaw.
And a yeehaw.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty powerful message in its own right.
It is.
Life can be tough, and it's easy to get bogged down in negativity and cynicism.
Oh, for sure.
And IslandJason's reminding us to hold on to that childlike sense of wonder and to find joy in the simple things.
I love that.
Yeah, and if you want more of that, you can find him over on his YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
He's always putting out new content, and he's made it clear he appreciates the support of his viewers.
And he's even mentioned that viewers can send him an etransfer at IslandJason@gmail.com.
That's right.
If they're feeling generous.
If you want to support his whiskey fund.
Exactly.
That's
a pretty unconventional approach. But it speaks to that directness and authenticity that we've been talking about.
It does. It's like he's saying, hey, I'm putting myself out there, and I'm not afraid to ask for what I need.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into IslandJason's world, it seems like there's a lot to unpack here.
There is.
He's simultaneously pushing back against traditional notions of masculinity while embracing certain aspects of it.
Yes.
He's advocating for authenticity and vulnerability while also emphasizing strength and resilience.
Yeah, it's a complex and often contradictory message.
It is.
But it's one that seems to be resonating with a lot of people.
It really is. He's a unique voice in the online landscape. And whether you agree with him or not, there's no denying he makes you think.
He does.
And he leaves you with a lot to ponder.
He does.
What are your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, what do you think about IslandJason's perspective?
Does his message of embracing individuality and challenging social norms resonate with you?
Let us know.
That's something for you to mull over. And if you find yourself wanting to hear more of IslandJason's unfiltered take on the world, head over to his YouTube channel, subscribe, and join the community. You might just find a friend or two along the way.
You might even find your friends.
You might. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the depths of IslandJason's mind.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with more fascinating content.
Find your friends with open ears, laughs and